More and more on TikTok, you're seeing, a lot of white people starting to come out saying how, they're starting to wake up to see what black people has been talking about all these years and how the country has just been doing us so wrong and they haven't listened to black people. Case in point, listen to what this lady is going to say about America.
America is such a scam. I can't believe that I just ate it up. I just ate up everything they spoon-fed me for 35 plus years. I totally bought it. Like, our government has our best interest. Everything on the market must be safe. The more I learn, it's such a reckoning in my head right now. I totally bought all of the history textbook propaganda that the US was the savior, this force of good in the world. Like, no, we're not. No, we're not. We're an imperialist country that has slaughtered tens of thousands of people in their own selfish interests. And we're still doing it. And every politician is bought and paid for. And they've distracted us this whole time with the red versus blue so that we blame someone else instead of them. And I feel like I'm a smart person. And I can't believe that it took me this long to piece it all together. Now that I have, I'm just horrified.
Not forever, Black Americans have been saying the exact same thing. But while Black Americans were suffering, this lady was believing the ideals in the same country that Black Americans are suffering. She mentioning that a force for good, yet you didn't see the things they've been doing all over the world. What do you mean a force for good? What do you mean that the ideals and believing in everything in this country? See, Martin Luther King had talked about two Americas, that we live in two Americas. Same country, but two different ideals. See, the problem with a lot of the folks is as long as nothing's touching you, you can care less what happens to other groups of people. You can care less, even in your own country, right? It's easy to say, okay, well, they don't live here, so I can't really, out of sight, out of mind. Fine. But in your own country, see, if you would have did the right thing a long time ago and say, hey, wait a minute. No, we need to have an equal country that's equal for everybody, where they have an equal playing field. Then when you use the term, well, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, it actually makes sense because, hey, now you have equality now. You got people up here telling people down here, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, when they got up here by artificial means. And what I mean by artificial means, I mean with slavery. That's how you got up here. You didn't get up here because your hard working effort. You didn't get up here because you pulled yourself up by your bootstraps. So now in America that, things are tightening up a little bit. Prices getting higher. Inflation. They don't have the same standing in the world like they used to, right? Countries slowly are getting away from dealing with the United States of America. I remember at one point in time, if America said something, people did it. It wasn't even questioned. Now today, a lot of that has changed because of America themselves, or just dealing with the Western world. Every day you see an African nation saying, nah, I'm cool dealing with y'all, man. I'm cool. You still got some over there selling out, but every day people are waking up to the Western world. They don't want to deal with them much anymore. Why? Because of what they have done, right? But for you to think that going after Saddam Hussein and doing what happened in Iraq was a force for good, really? But these are the same people that say they're good Christian people all these years. Even though they doing us dirty, even though they putting drugs in our community, guns in our community, mass incarcerating us, treating us racist the whole time, they still feel like they good Christian people. Well, you know what? Ma'am, I'm glad you woke up to a lot of scam in this country. It's scams on top of scams in this country, right? Even the way we're taxed, we just about taxed on half our income at the end of the day. But y'all thought that was okay because you had a little bit more money to play with than black people. Black people been suffering. Now, since that purse, and then while it's tightening up a lot now you seeing all the overtaxation. Now you seeing all the things that we've been telling y'all for a long time. Even if y'all go and do some college protests out there, talk about Israel and Palestine. You seeing how the police are acting very violent with you. We've been telling y'all forever how violent the police are in this country. Oh, well, just comply. They won't be doing all that. Well, that's the same thing we say. Comply with the police and they won't be doing all that. You understand? Every single time we have been the oracle in this country, we have talked about the moral direction of this country. We have talked about the way they tax us. We've talked about the laws. We've talked about the food. We've talked about the medicine. We've talked about everything in this country. And now y'all slowly starting to get it. And this is why black people are having responses even to that. It's like, man, I don't want to hear all that, bro. I don't want to hear that. And the reason why I don't want to hear that is because y'all sat there and was cool when all this was happening to us, but now it's happening to you. Oh, now you want some change now. We've been dealing with this stuff for 400 plus years. And you only dealing with it for 40 minutes and now you complaining? No, That's why you don't have a lot of sympathy with black people. Because you didn't have sympathy with us. You ignored us. You gaslit us. All kind of things you did with us, right? So now, that's why a lot of black people say, hey, man, even some black people say, oh, no. You ain't been in it long enough. You need to be in it a lot longer so you can really feel it. Be in a position where you can't afford housing. You can't afford whatever. Understand? So, I'm glad she's waking up to the whole thing, but what is she going to do about it? Is she going to say, hey, you know what? I need to be the biggest advocate for reparations for black Americans because I see what the system has done to them. And now they're really about to do this to me. She's not going to say that, though, because you ask any of them about reparations. You ask any of them about a reparation, the first thing they're going to do, they're going to try to justify why reparations should be paid.